During our foundation year, we are actually leading our students to understand multiple questions when it comes to studying medicine. In the first semester, we pay major attention to medical English, and during that, we are trying to enhance the vocabulary. But our second semester then involves medical ethics. Medical ethics is something that we are very proud of being able to teach, in a sense of encouraging students to understand how important is the position of a physician in the life of the patient. Patients' rights is also something that we pay huge attention to. And the bottom line is that we are trying to bring our students to understand the necessity of creating a productive dialogue and constructive dialogue, and allowing our students to understand that without critical thinking, without being able to read the room, without being able to understand their audience, without being able to actually have a dialogue, understanding the four basic principles of medical ethics and everything else that comes along with it, they will never achieve the potential as a physician that they could potentially achieve. So first semester, we specialize basically, or we concentrate on medical English, but in a sense, we still kind of mention what is what. And in the second half of our studies, we take it a little bit more practical, and we practice not only for our entrance interviews in a sense of what do you say, how you behave, your demeanor, but we also take them to Auschwitz. Auschwitz is a place that many people know is a major extermination concentration camp in Poland. And the interesting thing about Auschwitz is that Nazi doctors were extremely active in there. This is not the only concentration camp they were active in, but it's a concentration camp that they did experimented on humans, and they did very nasty things to humanity. From that, our students are learning to understand that we do have something that's called the Nuremberg Code, and a doctor practicing today cannot not understand that whatever happened in concentration camps during the Nazi era in Germany, they would not actually have the declaration and the guidance of ethical approach to patient as they have today. So we take them back and we explain to them why it's important for them to understand the history. Without understanding the history, they cannot understand the present. And without understanding the present, they cannot actually positively influence the future. So aside of that, they need to learn that very often they have entered completely different culture. They've entered a culture that might be not only different in a sense of a language, but also customs and the way that we perceive the position of a physician. So coming from a country where the position of a physician has a total authority, which in the Czech Republic we are leaning towards more a dialogue. We are leaving the position of complete paternalism, and we are leaning towards a dialogue between a physician and a client as a patient in this instance. It means that their perception of medical profession can be a little bit challenged in that moment. But I have to say our students are very receptive to everything we do. They're very inquisitive. They are very happy to learn, and we are trying to create a very safe environment for them. So they learn very quickly that whatever they say, as long they say it in a respectful way, whatever they ask, as long they ask in a respectful way, will be answered. They don't need to worry about being laughed at. They don't need to worry about being ridiculed. They don't need to worry about somebody saying, oh, you should know that. This is a silly question. And hand in hand with this, we also try to introduce them to the Czech culture on a basic social level. As I said, some of our students are coming from culture where they can get away with lots of negotiating, and you don't get away with much of negotiating in the Czech Republic. So being able to understand the system, the schooling system, being able to understand the hierarchy, how we approach and deal with problems, being able to see how you communicate to make your relationships better within people within Czech Republic, along with learning the language. That is very important. And our foundation year is basically not acting as a year when you're learning the technical subjects. You're not only getting ready for your entrance interviews or your entrance exams, you're also learning how you function within the culture, how you function within the society, how you function and interact and adapt to the people around you. And that kind of allows our students to be ready to focus fully on their studies. Once they start, whichever faculty they choose, once they start their studies, their medical studies, they can have full focus on that. They don't need to kind of work out what's what. They don't need to wonder if reaction of people towards them or certain way they have been spoken to